Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. I guess we're going to talk about Vengeance and the new FM cycle. And I guess, it's strange how much things change in a week. Every FM target below 120 is gone, and Tom Brady is a Buccaneer. So
how much for the rest of them?
How much for the rest of the Patriots?
For the rest of Tom Brady, I'm assuming.
I don't even know what that means, but all right.
He's a Buccaneer.
Buccaneer.
$1, $2.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Who this man?
There you go. All right, Mike.
Hello.
Right, Mike.
How's everybody doing?
Good. And Kenny.
Hello.
Lady Cat.
Hello.
And Two Doors.
The heavy thrower sucks. Do the math.
Yeah. The reload is.
I don't mean to tip my hand, but I don't have long.
Okay. And Derpy.
Congratulations! Everything is 25% off.
There you go. Yeah. So let's get moving. All right. I guess they were having. We were trying to remove some of the pain associated with the recycling of walls. So, Are You Sure is now gone.
Now it only takes me 5 clicks to build one composite wall instead of 10.
Yay!
Yeah.
Within their what you see is normally programmed. What would you suggest as a way to fix this?
I'd say there should be something where you can select a whole bunch of walls at once and recycle all of them at once. Hold shift, press 20 walls, and recycle them all at once. But this is better than nothing.
Yeah. Fixed issue so low firing arc weapon cannot shoot through mountain's corner angle. I haven't run into that. I haven't even built any mountains. So thoughts on that or any experience? But I guess it's fixed. So to help you get back into the action during a time where people are spending at home, a 25% fleet repair discount is in effect through the end of March. And also we are getting the 50% stays good until, is it 8 o'clock Pacific time?
Yep.
So
Okay.
4 more hours.
4 more hours. So if you want to do your FM or I don't know that any of these TLCs are the Praetorian one is more just a pain in the ass than a repair issue, at least for me. Yeah, you could get some of your TLCs done, your FM done, and be at 50% repair. So there you go. And I think it's nice of them to do the 25% for their at least through the end of the month.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah.
If you're, I know a lot of people are advised to stay home more. If you're at home and all other things you want to do are battle pirates, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I mean,
if you're somebody that like me, what I watch on TV is generally sports and the news. There's no more sports, and the news is one topic.
The same thing.
Yeah. It's like there's not a lot to do to kill time. So I could understand that more people might spend some time on battle pirates if they're like because I think there's a pretty good percentage of the BP player base that is follow sports, considering our demographic.
Your local
99.2% male.
Well,
Lady Cat is the other point.
I can tell if Lady Cat watched my videos if there's one female viewer.
yes, me.
Your local public library might offer ebooks and audiobooks through online services
And
for
your
other
local
entertainment.
library might be open.
If they're wrong, they might be open.
Some of us are open and some of us are working, and we still appreciate the 25% plate repair because we're working and our time is limited, and it helps us working people as well.
Yeah, and you can listen to an audiobook while you're playing PP as well. So
Yes,
throw that out there.
I recommend Game of Thrones.
Okay.
You might not be done by the end of March with Game of Thrones.
Yes.
I'm busy, and they'll understand it so much better. Of course, it'll run out before.
Okay.
But anyway,
They'll get to the last book and wonder where the Starbucks cup is.
Okay, let's move to the next slide. All right. Right now we are in we have up the VXP weekend showing up. Did I miss the art showcase, or was that last week? And they just,
I think it was last week. There were some
Yeah.
Punisher flagship skins that we saw.
Yeah. So I guess the calendar's a little off on that one. So this is the start of the 3-week FM cycle, which means we'll have a raid in 3 weeks. So, and we have the XP weekend right now. Anybody ranking anything up? Nope.
Maybe my third Warhound I just built.
I was gonna say maybe Warhounds.
Yeah, I'm not. Have you guys tried those previously? Do they work pretty well? Because I know sometimes these targets they jack the resistances way up for the non-intended damage type.
I think I ranked the last Warhounds in it.
Yeah. So.
No, I think I was suiciding them anyway.
Yeah. So I guess there's some things. I mean, as far as I don't know, I just keep on making the tokens out of titanium for the Conquerors. So. All right, and next week we're going to have Bounty 30, and I've heard some people suggesting to change that to Charmin for this. I think it was Ben on Discord for a period of time, and
If they can
We might
find
be
either of those.
out of both of those.
yeah, and there is a special place in hell for the people that are buying 96 rolls of toilet paper at this point in time. So I got a call into the Pope. Maybe he'll get back to me during the show for him to make a statement on this, but it's unnecessary and it's just.
So, from my most basic of research on the topic, one roll is supposedly lasts an average household, not individual household, about 3 to 5 days. So you buy a 6-pack. You're good.
I've seen different numbers of a half a roll to 1 roll per person, so it really depends on the size of the household.
If you're gonna buy a
yeah.
6-pack, it probably shouldn't be toilet paper.
It also
Right.
depends if you're using it to remove makeup.
Depends.
Yeah, so,
You might still be able to find that, actually. I'm sure.
all right, yeah, and now that our ships are done, as far as getting defender tokens, that would be another good reason to do the VXP targets, because our ships are pretty well.
Someday we might get defenders.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, sometimes I wake up and wonder if I was in a fever dream and they released a defender and I just never heard about it.
yeah, I guess they thought that the release of the 2 additional heavy transformers was supposed to counteract some of this stuff, but I don't know. I am wondering as far as what they think the best balance is as far as he goes. Do they get more people participating if it's easy to hit a base? Like then you don't get just the people that are good at it. You get the people that are not good at it that can I can run over a base with my 5 Warhounds.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, probably there's a lot more engagement just overall, and the people that are truly competitive will seek to hit the top bases to prove that they can. They're their behavior probably isn't going to differ too much, especially after they get what their the amount of points that they want. So yeah, that sounds like a good idea to make it easier rather than harder.
Yeah, but then it frustrates a lot of people. And then Penguin is bringing up the fact that with the 10.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, the 10 HTs. Yeah, that makes
Mhm.
But everyone's going to complain no matter what. This community on the whole is pretty negative and pretty salty.
It depends. Depends on the week. So, all right, if we're done with the calendar, let's move on. Oh, more of the calendar. This was released, I think, during the Friday show. I understand it better right now. If you read across the top, March, Pillage, Raid, VXP, Tier 9, Siege TLC. Basically, right now we are transitioning from Raid to VXP on the top line. Those are basically weeks. I think it would be improved if there was maybe a date associated with each one and people would pick it up a little bit faster. And so then you have the tier and what ships you need to have available. I think this was put out to combat the long upgrade times that ships have. And, like right now I decided I'm done with the raid and I put my, Punisher flag in, and it's going to take forever. It's going to take a week to get that done. And so I would miss anything if, they weren't already, I can look here and say, okay, if I needed to rank them, I needed to keep them around and not have that, not have them tied up in a really long upgrade. So it does make sense.
It does now. Thank you.
Yeah. And then April, you see, the other thing is Tier 9. I don't think they're including all the TLCs. That's the part that's a little bit tricky, that there's just the, bounties also going on there, but there's a TLC, but there's TLC. That's the confusing part, is there's a TLC mentioned every month, but we have, 12 TLCs a month. So the fact they're only mentioning one is a little bit confusing, but I think that's the way it works.
But maybe that's what it's for, to get Punisher stuff and Dragoons. I don't know.
I'm assuming you're using these ships.
Yeah, you'd be using them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, and we're going to have 3 months in a row of Praetorian's Pegasus, if I read this correctly, because we look at April. So I thought they would transition because we've already had Praetorian Pegasus, and we're in a 2-month raid cycle. I thought it would switch over to Riots, but assuming this is right, whatever. And we get the
pillage stuff tends to also change every 2 months.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We've already had Praetorian and Pegasus last month. And now
I see.
Never mind. That one's already passed. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, that one's already passed. So yeah, next month is, So the May one is probably Praetorian Riot. I was, because since so much of this stuff had already passed when it was released, I sort of added them up in my mind. So yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Right. Well, I'd like to say overall, now that I understand this chart, I absolutely love it, because this is the kind of information we've been needing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to help so much in our planning. So thank you, Kix.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't include the picture version because I'm not sure that that's as helpful. Later, Two Doors.
See you, Brian.
Take care, Brian.
All right, let's move to the next one. All right, what's everybody's thoughts on the ongoing, the still ongoing raid in some sectors of Vengeance, the first raid in the Tier 9 siege cycle?
This was a freaking mess in the beginning. That's
Yeah.
It was a mess to me.
It was a mess to me till last night. But
I got some help. Thank you very much, Hefe,
Mhm.
on how to get my Punishers finished off. I admit I did buy the special to get the upgrades. Go ahead, Jeff Kenny. And then after that, it got to be tolerable. But I can see where people are pissed off about this one.
Okay. Yeah, and in my recommendation was not buy the U3 upgrade.
No, you did not recommend that.
Yeah. Okay.
I did that on my own.
Yes. It was more how to change how your ship builds and.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I thank you very much.
Mhm.
And then also, the other thing was the driving methodology, which makes a big difference.
Yeah. Basically, tanking with your flag.
Yeah.
At the edge of the purple rings on the back ships.
I've been trying to get that. I don't mean to overspeak, but I've been trying to get that somewhat down so that I could do it almost, every time, and then make kind of a video. But I couldn't do it.
Okay.
I just not that good a driver. So, but I have been doing the 507s for between 45 and 55 minutes without a crew, and that isn't terrible. I don't think.
Yeah, and Ben brings up a point. The points payout, well, the target payouts to points is out of whack.
Way out of whack.
And it's not right for Doc. I don't think it's right for Doc 16. I had Doc 16 going in. Just the number of targets you had to hit was tremendous, and they knew that walking in, because if you look, there's 2 badges, one for collecting the trencher, and the other one for hitting 100 sets. With the length of these targets, I ended up hitting 76, 77 sets, somewhere around there. And I spent more time than I wanted. But yeah, 100 sets. Yeah, that was... and also they added an additional day on there. It was just... The cost of the items... It seemed to be planned that way because of that badge. That's they wanted you to hit 100 targets or 100 sets. So yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay.
that was crazy. I had the problem because I did not have my dock upgraded, and I decided to upgrade my Praetorian flag while I could. And my Praetorian flag was upgrading. I couldn't refit my fleet. There was nothing I could do to change anything. I could not hit the target successfully. I had to get help, and I had to spend coin. And it wasn't until last night when I finally coined the finish of my Praetorian flag upgrade that I was even able to hit the 102s by myself. So I struggled. Thankfully, my ally leader helped me a lot. Prepping for me. And I got what I had to have. I didn't get everything I wanted, but I got what I had to have. Didn't come close to any badges. Not even close. But I survived it. But I wasn't happy about it. I did not have the time this week for several reasons to sit and grind the riots tokens. And I wasn't going to do that even if I did have time because it was making me mad because of the enormous amount of points I needed.
Okay.
So that's my take on it.
Okay. Yeah, J-Vlog, did you watch the beginning of last week's show where I was hoping for the D99 FU as the one of the FM prizes? But yeah, that obviously didn't. Well, we haven't got to that slide yet, but that hasn't happened yet. So, how many points did you all finish with? Feel comfortable sharing? I got pretty much everything I wanted personally. I think I don't know. Was I like 77, 78 million?
Something like that. Hold on.
Yeah.
I got up to, 48 million, and I got a bunch of PvE stuff, bunch of upgrade kits. and I would have preferred to have another 30 million to get all the PvP stuff, which I got. I think I picked up one of the heavy turrets. So I would have preferred to have another 30 million points for some PvP stuff. I didn't like this raid enough to spend a whole bunch of time playing it. It got good towards the end, but it sucked at the start, so that disillusioned me from it.
Yeah.
78.5 FA.
Okay, yeah, that's something I have. So yeah, 77.
I got 50 something million.
And I'm at 74, basically.
But I spent coin. I don't know how much coin. I know I'll talk about it.
Okay. I just found, I don't know, there was a path there to get a lot of points if
you had the fleet.
No, if you had the time. Between the riots and the punishers, there was a route there for people that wanted to spend a lot of time. And like I said, they wanted 100 sets. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's. But did you get what I want? What I wanted? Yeah, I got pretty much, what I wanted out of it, and I still have another over an hour and 40 minutes until it's over. But I decided it's over for me, and I actually put my flag into upgrade. So that's it. So anybody else want to discuss? Kenny, you've been quiet today. Maybe
he will continue being quiet.
You guys have said everything I was going to say, except I'll double up on the prize points. I mean, but that's caused by the fact they put all that PvP stuff in with the PvE stuff. So if they had just stuck with one or the other, I probably would have been fine. But
well, I don't want them to release the defense stuff in bounty. I mean, so I was glad that they did that. They've had this really high price tag associated with the Ormaquila the whole time, that 4.5 million. It's always been way pricey. And at this point, even with the right reload, where you've maxed it out, it doesn't really seem to do anything yet. Maybe it does something in the future, but it doesn't feel like it does that much.
It's about 25-30% better, but
in theory. But are you seeing a change in?
I mean, I only have it on one ship, so
okay. I think I have 18 of them on, or something like that. I think I might have more than that. So I have a ton of them on. I've been putting them on gradually, like 2 and then 5 and then 5 and 5. I haven't seen a huge change. Maybe it's there. So, but yeah, it's,
the other thing is they did provide a middle ground for people that didn't have. I was impressed by 2 things. 3 punishers actually worked, which is what they promised.
Mm-hmm.
And that the riots actually were, although 3, I don't like 3 prizes or 3 targets in a set. That kind of feels grindy. But the riots did have a shot at getting decent prizes, even if you didn't even get a start at your punishers.
Yeah. Mitchell got just using the flag. He got 136 million. So there you go.
And in the testing that they did with the various targets, they tuned things for 5 punishers at 40,000 tons each. So I was talking with Half Centaur, and the reason some of these 3 ships and 1 ship stuff worked is because the targets were tuned down so much. So we shouldn't expect those to work in the future. No,
it would be crazy to expect that, but it was nice of them to. But I don't know if that was the problem in the first day of the raid, is they like that wouldn't have worked. First, like how they were tuned at the beginning of the raid, that would have killed everything.
Yeah, because they seemed excessive even for people that had the 5 fleet set up.
Yeah.
As you experienced, Derpy, on the show.
Yep.
Right. I mean, I was ready to rock and roll, and then it wasn't happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and Kelvin brings up the point that it just took too long. It was.
Targets are way too long.
Yeah.
They're shorter than some in the past. I mean, they're not.
Yeah, they're shorter than the assault targets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them have been painful.
And I think I saw Ryan was talking about this on Discord. I was on there too. That the biggest issue with these targets is that you have to hit so many of them and take significant damage on all of them to get the prizes you want and the points you want that it gets not worth it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, yeah, and he was running at Dock 15, right?
He had Dock 16.
By the end of it, I thought it's okay. All right.
I'm a little worried about that last comment about the heavy weapon. That's a lot of points. And if it's not going to make a big difference, there's other things I'd rather spend it on.
Yeah, I mean, it's Brian alluded to that at the start of the show, and it deals with the fact that the reload rate is the reload rate. You can't increase it with specials, rank, or rogue crews.
But it also only fires forward, and I spend most of my time sideways to what I'm aiming at. So
no, this one, I think it fires in any direction. I've only.
Oh, really?
I think you're talking about the X1 built-in weapon, unless I'm off.
Oh, okay.
With the throw only, okay. It could be the way I'm driving, because Kelvin's agreeing with it. It only has a narrow firing arc. I guess it's just the way I'm driving. It's always Derpy. Am I wrong here? I think it fires in any direction.
I'm not sure. Let me pull up a.
It's the built-in X1 that has a fixed firing.
Built-in X1 has a firing angle, yes. So this thrower should not have a firing angle.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it just has an 8-second reload time that can't be helped by anything else.
See, that sucks.
Yep, that's
You've
correct.
either got to have a really big boom to make it worthwhile, or what's the point?
Yeah, and it could be the way they structure, because I don't think that the thrower was designed for this raid. So maybe, like I talk about, historically, like an alpha strike, like you're getting a little bit more when you first go in and engage a target, or a part of a target.
But that's part of the thing that drives me crazy is the paranoia buying things that you think might be useful or might not.
Paper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you coming full circle on the toilet paper thing?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. Okay.
It might be useful.
Yeah.
The virus might mutate into something intestinal.
Yeah. So Ben's agreeing. Yeah, that the heavy thrower has a 360 firing arc. So yeah, I just always hit things from the, pretty much from the start, from straight on. So okay, we've talked about. Is there anything else we should be talking about in regards to? Well, I guess the big issue that I saw was the fact that what we saw in the VXP target wasn't splash-based weapons, and they transitioned over to splash-based weapons. And I don't know if contrition is a little too hard of a word, but it appeared to be open ears as far as Half Centaur and some of the other Kickside people, as far as how to give the players a way to plan to build for these targets.
Did they finally get it? We've only been telling them.
Well, this was the worst one, because it was, they went from accuracy based to accuracy based with splash, from the way, Derpy, you did a couple videos on this prior to it coming out. Prior to this, based on the XP target. What were the big changes that you saw between the VXP target, the strategy guide, which didn't mention anything about splash except for on the thrower, and then what we actually saw inside the targets?
So what we saw with the targets in the VXP target, the majority of things were accuracy based damage, where evade would be helpful, and you could stack your ships and drive a whole fleet stacked.
Mm-hmm.
In the strategy guide put out the day or two before the raid, it confirmed that the large radioactive thrower was splash damage, but didn't mention anything about the other three main turrets that we're dealing with most often.
Mm-hmm.
In the actual raid, it turns out that all those individual turrets, the smaller coaxial radioactive ones, the ballistic ones, those are all accuracy-based splash damage, and they all have a very small splash. What that means is if you have one ship against that, it works completely normal, and evade still helps perfectly fine against that. But if you stack your ships up again, and it's shooting at you, if it misses, no damage happens. If it hits you, it deals damage to that ship and splash damage to all ships around it, which means you can't drive stacked in these targets. And it's also complicated enough that most players can't really understand it. I had a hard time understanding it at first, but it means you get to drive differently, and your builds aren't always the best anymore. Those were the two main things from this raid.
Okay.
Or progression.
Yeah, and a couple of things that he brought up were providing the final target like a week before the raid in case they had to make adjustments from DXP to the actual raid. And the other thing that I think one of them agreed with was the fact that because the strategy guy is so generic, and this time was a little bit wrong, or not wrong, but it missed a lot of crucial details.
Incomplete.
Exactly.
Why don't we get this a month ahead of time? Because there's not, they can live with those guidelines. They can change things based on what they say there, and give it to us a month ahead of time, so at least we can sort of think things out. Or we're going to be forced to do like what I did. Is I just kept all the tokens I could until the raid started, and then started finishing my build based on that. So anything that I thought was a little bit off. So yeah,
I think that that we need to have a fully detailed official strategy guide that comes out as soon as possible once the target's finalized, and even a dev diary work in progress thing that comes out a month or a month and a half before would be great to increase transparency. But they need to tell us that these are the turrets that you're up against. This one deals accuracy-based splash damage. This one deals splash damage. This one deals accuracy-based damage. The damage types are these three things. Evade will help against this, won't help against this. Splash damage reduction will help against these turrets. They need to tell us exactly what we're facing, because it's so difficult for us to figure it out ourselves without knowing if these targets are final targets.
Right. We can figure it out after the fact, but we need to know before the fact, because we don't save our tokens like FA does, and we can't build on the fly. Most of us just cannot build on the fly.
But I wouldn't give them the luxury of, when you're done with finalize the target. If they finalize it 3 days ahead of time, they finalize it 3 days ahead of time. But a month ahead, 3 weeks ahead, whatever, put out a strategy guide and stay within those rules.
Right.
And then and then now they can up the damage on something. They can change how they use those in the target. Increase the frequency of it, or change the positioning of it. But just stay within those rules. Doesn't seem to be so awfully hard, because they're fairly. Well, the last one was overly generic, but previously they're still pretty generic when they deal with accuracy base and splash and range, long range, mid range, short range, these kind of things. So,
well, I have a thought.
Attitude. What?
Perhaps they just don't have enough time with this 2-month raid cycle. Maybe they just need to slow it down a little and go to a 3-month raid cycle.
Yeah,
They won't have to develop brand new ships and brand new targets every 2 months. I'm sure.
Well, that's my fear. That's what I brought up last week. But that's my fear is they're gathering a lot of data during VXP weekend as far as how the players are interacting with that target, and therefore that's even giving them a month off. Let's say we'll make this because of the issues with the dock weight and whatnot, make this a 3-month raid cycle, and then they allows the game designers, coders, everybody else to get a month ahead, so therefore they can get things right the first time around. But I think they gather a lot of data associated with how the players interact with them when they're VXP targets.
But most of us are suiciding our fleets anyway, or almost, because we're lucky if we have more than a thud on it by the time VXP weekend happens.
It's pretty obvious what they did. It didn't matter how we built it. They were aiming for a certain number of coins or damage per target, and they overestimated or underestimated or whatever, and adjusted accordingly until they got to the whatever coins per target they're aiming for. It's pretty obvious how they do it.
We were too good with our high evade build ideas that they had to make those not work somehow.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you did it better than I did, but basically
it's felt like,
the high evade builds were working too well, and there was no easy way to counter high evade other than splash, and so they adjusted.
Oh, and can it get ready to hit a 41 if you can at some point soon?
What's a 41? A riot target or what?
141. It's the new FM target.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We haven't got there yet, but just so we can walk through it. And
sure, I should be ready in about 3 minutes.
Okay. Vengeance. Do we got much else on Vengeance? Or we've pretty much covered all the issues? Or is there any hidden gems we're missing as far as prizes or whatnot, or anything else anybody wants to say?
I would like to see thanks to Kix for the tokens and the extra points. That helped me a lot.
The extra day was nice. A lot of free things were nice, and
it did. But isn't that kind of an admission that they overshot a little bit?
They didn't overshoot by this much. They didn't mess up this badly.
I'm afraid. Nah, afraid's the wrong word, but just use that word for next month. It's almost like you're going to have X1 fully built out, all tricked and everything to go, or you're not going to do nothing. And that might be a little overkill, but you get my point, I think. This one seemed to be very difficult until you had the right stuff, and you're going to have the right stuff next time, or you're going to sit in your chair and.
Well, I felt like that in the first 2 hours of the raid, and they adjusted things. So
I don't know. Okay.
They seem to know how to adjust to get the right effect.
They can do it. It's do they want to do it? And
well, they just did.
It's like, wow.
They just did. I think they did not normally a Kix applauder, but they did a really nice job of getting it to the right number of coins per target.
I'm just thinking about the lower, not so chair heavy people that can sit here and do this all day long. They're going to have a hard time. That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah. For those of us that are away at work.
Some people
it's always been true. Either money or time. It's been the equation for 8 years. That's never been.
And a lot of those prizes were optional. That's what I tried to bring up earlier. Like, I consider those the Aquila, which is 4.5 times 5, so 22.5 million just for those.
I didn't get those.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They were optional.
Right.
There's some optional stuff that they threw at you. There was some stuff that people could have gotten bounty as far as the limited tier 9 turrets. But the HT transformers, if you wanted them, those were there. But there was a lot of optional sort of catch-up stuff because I think I'm done at this point with the Golden Eagle. I don't think I need any more because I've been getting all of them every time. So I think that's the end of the line for me personally.
I would have liked to have gotten the trencher, or the new ship, whatever it was. I would have liked to have gotten that in the new gun to maybe do better in bounty, but it wasn't a priority. I had to get what I had to get to get by on a regular basis.
What level target am I aiming for?
141.
The new thing.
Yep. Let's move on to the next slide. All right. New prizes, two new T9 armors, Xinthium Isotope ZM2, ZCO2. They added the V42 rock block to the prize store, and the new level 141 Praetorian target. They retired the 125, which is breaks in what they were doing earlier, where they considered 125 below the limit where they would transfer over. Because 127 was supposed to be the next one, but I don't know if they got some pushback and the 127 is still there.
That's what happened. They enough people were concerned about it going away. They kept it in for now.
Yeah.
So probably go away
see that in the
next
forums,
time.
but didn't play in the forums. Was that in Discord?
I think so. They were definitely intending to get rid of the 127.
I'm glad you didn't. But
yeah, and they're returning all targets below 120, and that's what J-Vlog was bringing up earlier. Basically, and I asked a lot of questions associated with this, and we were all given free Praetorians at this point. And it's, I couldn't get any promises, but basically new players are going to get built Praetorians like we did in order to participate in the FM, which I think is, if that's actually what happens, that's actually a good move. Yeah,
I think they got to do that.
And
under
Inferno Dragons even will still work on the 120 and 121.
Yes, but if you start the game, it's a long time till you can get to the Inferno Dragon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm outside of 141.
Okay. Well, give us okay. Have I gone over my time?
No, I'm just telling you I'm ready.
Okay. Because so basically, I assume that it's all going to work out. And basically, I think that's actually probably a good move because with those ships, you can auto the 120s, 121s for instant repair on the map, from what I heard. And, it makes the FM not bad for people that just entered it. It seems to throw things a little lopsided. I guess if they're brand new and they're getting these, can they even fit one in their dock? I don't know all the changes they're having to make, to get a built Praetorian in a low level base. Even one in a dock. I'm not sure, what changes they're making. If anybody, Derpy or anybody wants to start up an Armor Games account and see what's going on, I'd be happy to hear what the, what they're actually doing. So, all right, let's move to the next slide. All right. The 141, which is the new target, it's 8,000 points, and it drops the Antipode D99U times 2. And everything else didn't stay the same. They dropped the 125 and everything below 120, as we mentioned earlier. And I haven't hit the 141, but I think the next slide is a screenshot I took of it.
And really quickly, something to mention from the armor points that Cuddle brought up in chat, and so did Benjamin, is that it gives you 2% corrosive bonuses. So the next ship we're getting and the next raid will probably be a corrosive ship.
Okay, yeah,
And,
we're
might as well put that new armor, missile armor, on your Praetorians if you have enough of it.
Nope.
Nope.
Well, let's skip ahead to the next slide. Okay, the next one. Next one more.
This
I got a
one?
little bit early on that one, I guess.
One more?
No, this is it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really close. The penetrative survival is fairly close on both of those. And
the big thing, right at the top.
Assault.
Okay. It's assault only.
yeah,
they
got me on that one. Okay.
Yeah. When I first glanced at it, that's what I thought, and then I was like, no, it removes a choice, but yeah, I can't go on the Praetorians. So, let's go back 1, 2, 3. Let's go back to the map. Okay, and Kenny, you're about ready to own this target.
Actually, I may sink in it. I haven't touched my Praetorians in months.
Okay.
They're pretty basic.
Okay. Well,
they're not upgraded or anything. But
okay.
Who's had the shipyard time for garrison when you can barely keep up with the raids?
Well, at least gives people a chance to see. A lot of people like to watch you die. I think that's
Actually,
wrong.
That'd be a good
Wrong, but,
they're waiting for you to hit the wall.
It'd be a good test anyway.
Here goes nothing, as they say.
I want to watch.
It's the first time I've seen it too, so I'm not going to be driving in the right places. We're missing our left, right guy.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. We can fill in. Left. No, right.
I'm going to drive them stacked just because.
When I tried it once, I did it not stacked. But
where are the missile turrets that I need to take out quickly?
It's in the very center, in that little larger quadrant with walls around it that are kind of orangish.
There you go.
One that just hit at you.
Is that the only one?
I think that's the only missile, heavy arc missile type turret. It doesn't deal a ton of damage, I don't think.
I don't like anything shooting me from a distance. So. Well, at least it looks like I'm going to make it through the target. That's better than I expected.
How many points is this worth?
8,000, which is the highest point target.
And 50% repair for the next couple hours.
Oh, that's true. So we better double it when I consider how hard it is.
Check and roll grace monkeys, I tell you.
It's actually not hurting me very badly. It's only taken about 1/8 of the ship. The one below it would have had me at half dead by now. That's weird.
Shh. This might be a bad thing.
It is weird, though. I mean, why is the one below it hurting more? Probably it looks like this one could be driven with like the tank in front thing and even lower damage than I'm taking. Because it's pretty even damage across all of them. Usually that means it's better to tank.
So can probably, once you take that missile out, just to use waypoints on the rest of it too.
Yep. It wasn't too bad.
Nice. Good job.
Thanks.
I think you're just getting better.
No, well, I wouldn't give myself that credit, but let's see, 22%, 0 evaded of explosive. That's funny. 22 resisted, 4 taken. 16 evaded on the missile, 49% resisted, 8% taken. For 1 hour, 17 minutes damage, but that's really 2.5 hours damage.
2.5. Yeah. Shit.
But that's not actually too bad for 8,000 points.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Really?
Especially with a little bit of an older build.
Yeah, that's an ancient build, so I expect some people to get that down to an hour or less than 30 minutes.
On when I tried it, driving first hit, one ship as a tank, I got 45 minutes damage under half repair. So that's an hour and a half under normal repair.
Okay.
So that's good.
Yeah. Well,
For the top level target.
yeah. I mean, Derpy, are you repaired? You want to try and
I'm okay. We're coming up against the hour markish anyway.
Okay. Either way, I mean, hour mark doesn't mean. Let's see. Let's go back to. All right, Lady Cat screen, and let's move to the next slide. All right, we have a same price, 17.5K for the new stuff. The top two ones. The old armors are still 17.5. Okay. And 15K for the V42 rock block. So, we got 4 claims each. We have 3 weeks, so that'll be a total of 24 armors combined across. But we're going to have an extra month. So we got this month, and we got next month too. The Pegasus only had 2 armor slots. I don't know how many armor slots this is going to have, since did we grow by 2 armor slots between the Punisher and the Dragoon?
I don't know, that would be a nice thing for them to tell us.
Yeah. Well,
We don't want to bust our ass to get out this armor, and then it only has 2 slots.
well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. They've given us an extra month in order to collect the armors, and the same number of claims. So yeah, I don't know. We talked about this last week as far as these armors being released a month earlier, and Kenny thought they're making the same mistake again. I don't think they're making the same mistake again. I think we're going to get a folded ferrite version next month that's not limited. That would be my guess. That would be the strategic move to try and account for that mistake. So right now we are getting the limited armors, and I don't have any insider knowledge on this, but that would be my guess is how they're trying to fix this so that they didn't release they released the unlimited armor after everybody had equipped their ships, so there was no reason for people to use it. So I don't know. Maybe we're going to have 20 armor slots. I have no idea. So
In other words, get what you can, but don't stress too much if you can. Because you probably won't have time to fit it all anyway.
well, if you're already going to get, you're going to get 8 per week, so you're going to get 24. And before the raid that you need to use, why did I forget the name of the new ship? The
Zealot. Is it
the Zealot. Yeah, the Zealot. We're already going to have 24. Before the next raid, we're going to have the ability to get, let me see, 3 times, 48 to at least 48.
Yeah, I'm just thinking how long it's going to take to put them on.
I'm assuming it's going to be well. After the upgrade tonight, we can. No, the upgrade was last night. I should have. Damn it! I should have done that. I'm assuming it's the same as the other Class 2 armors. Class 2 Xinthium isotope armors. I did not. If anybody wants to.
I can do that. Give me a second.
Okay, yeah. See if the fit time is any different between that and the ZC2 and the CR2.
And
I'm
if we have
assuming.
that many armors on.
Well, what I'm saying is, no, I was sort of joking that we're going to get 10 armors a ship. We have the opportunity to get a lot of armors, but I think they're trying to fix some things. They're not communicating, but I think they're trying to fix some things that they did last time with the folded ferrite version of the armor. So my expectation is we would see it next time.
They need to throw some better breadcrumbs if they want us to follow the right path. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Limited. It needs to be the right whole class from you. Equip it. I'll get it in a second.
Well, no, you can put it on a.
I can.
Yeah, you can put it on a gunship and get the exact.
The ZM armor has a 15-hour. ZM2 has a 15-hour build time.
Okay.
Same with the CO2 armor, which is it's the same as the other versions.
Okay, so it's the same as the ZC2, ZR2, the stuff that we've been putting onto our Punisher. So there's no change.
Which is also even the same as the version 1. So
yeah,
as the ZM1 from that were on the Pegasus.
Yeah, so I would expect to see some increase in the number of armor slots or weapon slots or something is going to.
Probably 4 armor slots ish. Seems like an okay number.
Yeah. So, but we're guessing on this, so don't hold us accountable.
Complete guess. It could be 25.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next. Well, is anybody actually? Let's go back. As far as the builds that people had on their Punishers, were people using the rock block?
I did on all 5 ships, but I think that was the wrong thing. I think your build was probably better.
I was using the radioactive sync drive. I was using the Scorcher turbine.
Yeah.
On all 5?
On all 5.
I wish I'd have done Huffy's build and used the Scorcher turbine on 4 ships and the rock block just on the 5.
Yeah, I did that. It helped a lot.
Yeah, I used in my build. I used the Scorcher on the back 4 ships, the rock block on the front ship, and I exchanged out the. I keep the
agility. Was it agility for?
No, yeah, the agility for what's the? I keep on forgetting the name of it.
High pressure piping.
Roaring barrels. I swapped that roaring barrel out on the flag, which had the rock block on there, which is faster. So I swapped out the roaring barrel for agility, or I put up the Scrambler 3 because it's quicker to build, and there's really no appreciable difference in these targets. There's no difference in these targets. So, and I got a difference of my back ships had a combat speed of 86, and my front ships had a combat speed of 87. So they would stay together pretty well. So,
yeah, very good.
Very well. Okay, let's move on. And the reason to use the Scorcher is the increase in damage and whatnot, and then the reason to use the rock block is the evade and survival and speed to make everything match up together. So this is it's the Xinthium. The ZM2 is tied strictly to assault, not assault and garrison. We see a tick up of between 1,400 between the two. We also get a +2 corrosive damage, which also, like I keep on hitting at, I think they're going to increase the number of armor slots to make that useful. And there's the Zealot on the right-hand side. And you can... so, what do you guys think? It's more the same?
Yeah.
Same thing, only different.
Okay.
So I can put this on my Pegasus, couldn't I?
Yeah. It depends how close you are to weight with your Pegasus. And your Pegasus is... does pen damage, so you get a little bit of a boost. Not an incredible boost. I think that's what they're trying to constrain, because you would expect more of a survival boost with that weight difference.
Right.
They've counteracted it with the corrosive damage. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Right, more of the same. This one previously did not have an alternative as far as besides assault, and it's the same dealio. Okay. Thoughts, opinions?
Sorry.
All right. And,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, same old, same old.
Mhm.
Not exciting.
Okay.
It's like the current armor.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's no comments on this one, it's basically the same. We don't know how many you need to get, but we have plenty of time to get them. We don't know what the next generation or the folded ferrite, the combo armor that's going to combine corrosive with penetrative survival. What's going to be different about it? We can assume from previous things that it's going to provide some sort of benefit. Evade, more armor, whatnot, but it's going to lower the survival. So we haven't seen the ship yet, and so just get as many as you feel comfortable with, I guess, at this point. We don't have a lot to go with. So, all right, and the next slide. Tide March. There's several TLCs out here. This is the one I thought would be most interesting to people. Involves the Pegasus, which are really slow in this target, and these targets take long ass time. But you do get upgrade tokens for your Praetorian along with build tokens, and
It's a never-ending build and upgrade of the Praetorians. I feel like I'm never getting anywhere. Been working on it forever.
You don't have to do this one. Like I don't think I needed any of the things in this target at all.
Well, the build tokens and the upgrade tokens.
You don't want to. You don't want to upgrade your Praetorians at all?
They're all upgraded.
Okay. Mine are not. I have my flags at U3, and the rest of them, the other 4 of mine are at U2. I don't know how many people are at.
Not even U2.
I did a first prize pack with a Pegasus. It was pretty nice.
Okay.
And I'm trying to put some more of those newer rockets, newer weapons on mine, and I got 1 or 2 to go. So I'm looking for the tokens. So
Tokens are always good.
Yep.
Shipyard's always busy.
Okay. Well, I think this is the last slide, and since Raptor's asking for it, and if anybody would like to join the show or the after show, the link's on the right-hand side, and see how things are going. Does anybody? I don't know. Is there much else that we need to discuss at this point? Oops.
Nope.
No. Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Stay safe, everybody. Wash your hands.
Yeah. And all those people with 96 rolls of toilet paper, we're coming for you. You know. So, alrighty. Well, if nobody has anything else to say, again, links on the right-hand side in case you want to join this or the after show. Most likely the after show at this point because I have my finger on the button to end things.
Fingers on the button.
Yep. So we'll see y'all on Friday, and
And good night, everybody.